I don't think there's anything wrong with having kids later on in life, but I'm glad I had my children younger in life, okay? We have four children, my wife and I. We had our first when I was 20. We had our last when I was 27, okay? The beautiful thing about having kids when you're younger is that you actually have energy, especially if you plan on having multiple kids, right? Because when you have multiple kids, the way we do, right? Four kids within a 7 year time span, and they all are different people. It takes a lot of energy to get from this practice to that practice, this activity to that activity, this birthday party to that birthday party, and deal with four different personalities full of energy, especially when they were younger. Those are the times I absolutely miss, when they were younger, right? But, they all were just little balls of energy bouncing off walls, clubhouses everywhere. I would walk into, my living room and it'd be sheets strung across here, there, and everywhere because they decided to make this huge clubhouse, right? It's just a lot of energy that it takes to deal with children, okay? I'm glad that I'm young enough to understand their generation. Like, for example, there wasn't anyone my parents' age playing video games with us. We were playing video games with peers. Our parents wasn't doing it. I wasn't playing video games with my step pops, my pops, or none of my uncles. But we play video games with our children because it's something that both of our generations love to do. My children get being a sneakerhead from me. I have a closet full of sneakers that I've had since I was in high school. That's 20 years ago. There's sneakers in my closet right now older than my children, okay? In fact, I'll go grab some. These are Fila Grant Hill 96 Olympics. They've never come back out with these, okay? Anybody who knows, knows. My wife bought me these Timbs when we first started dating, just within a couple months. These are older than all of my children. I used to have damn near every color Timbs. I got these Nike Dunks the day before my wife and I went to a football game at her school. She was pregnant then, but none of my kids were here. See that Seattle 71? I was a Sonics fan growing up. I actually bought this to go with a Notre Dame Joe Montana jersey, and I actually got that in my closet too. Got all kinds of stains on it now and all of that. But, it's what we used to do, man. Throwback jerseys. That was my era. So when my kids said, Daddy, I want the Bread 11s or I want the Flint 13s and so on and so forth, they know I get them. That's why I'm glad that I had them younger to where we at least share that. They share being a sneakerhead the same way I share being a sneakerhead. My son has a stack of shoes, 3, 4, 5 rows this high in his room. He don't even have room for his shoes in his closet because we both sneakerheads. I'm glad that I'm still young and my kids are almost grown. Still very able-bodied, still full of energy, so on and so forth. I can go take those trips, go travel the world, do all of that, and then pop in to help raise my grandkids. Still being young enough to help out with the next generation. And I think the most rewarding thing about having kids young, God willing, of course, is putting yourself in a position to see grandkids, great-grandkids, and possibly great-great-grandkids before you pass away. Actually seeing your legacy before you pass. That has to be something that's rewarding. I hope I make it to that day. I hope I'm able to make it to where my great-grandkids are able to have kids before the Lord takes me. Now, yes, it was tough. I'm not going to lie. There were a lot of things that we had to sacrifice in order to say we were comfortable. We had to draw from government assistance to be comfortable. We had to lean on family to be comfortable. We had to go back and stay with parents for a short period of time to be comfortable, right? These are the type of things we had to do because we started a family so young, right? But by the time we had our son, we were in a good place, and our fourth child was planned. Little Miss Ivy, she was a planned child. Wasn't no, oops, here go Ivy. No, we were like, we got 3. We good. We doing good in life. We got room for one more. Little Miss Ivy came, and boom, we've been good, all right? But, like I said, we had to sacrifice a lot. There were times where she had to quit her job because the childcare was so expensive that it made more sense for her to stay home, and I just worked overtime. And then when the overtime would slow up And then the money would start to crunch. Then she'd get a job working swing if I was working days. Or I would work swing and she worked days. And we only see each other on the off days. You see what I'm saying? These are the type of things that you have to do in order to keep it going. And that was back then. That was back when things were relatively affordable, right? Where you didn't have to make $100,000 a year in order to get by, because that's basically what $100,000 today does. It gets you by. But back then, our first apartment was what? A 2-bedroom in a decent area, decent apartment, and we were paying $779 a month. How many of you are paying $79 a month right now for a 2-bedroom? Put it like this. How many of you wish you were only paying $779 a month right now for a 2-bedroom, right? When we got into our first home, and this was a home that was actually bought by her aunt, we picked it out, we did all of that, right? But it was a foreclosure that was bought for $160,000. The mortgage on that was $1,200 a month. 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, decent size, I think like 1,800 square foot home, and only paying $1,200 a month. How many of you guys wish you were only paying $1,200 a month right now to rent a 4-bedroom home? Like, things have skyrocketed. Food didn't cost as much, transportation didn't cost as much, and all of that. Now, it was easier for you to just go buy a car off the street because you ain't have all this technology for scammer to sell you a fake title and run off with your money and all of that, I didn't have my buckets. Believe me, I didn't push some buckets. I had a Datsun 79Z that my mother gave me, and every time you started up, it's... You understand me? That car was something else. But, we had to do what we had to do. So even though I've had children young and it worked out for me, it's not something that I recommend you do, because it's not something that I recommend my kids do. See, those 2 bedrooms ain't renting for $779 no more. Those homes ain't renting for $2,500 no more. Hell, they're $150,000, $200,000 plus what they used to be on the market, right? So I recommend you actually get to a point in life where you can afford to have children before you start having children. Like, if you can afford that 1-bedroom and those groceries and that transportation for you, no problem, then you can get a 2-bedroom and you can add that formula and those diapers and so on and so forth to your budget. Oh, you can do that fine? Now you can get a 3-bedroom and have a second child, so on and so forth, and take it that way when you can afford to do it. For some of you, that will be 25, 26. For some of you, that'll be 32, 34, 37. But what I do not want at all in life, ever, is people having children they cannot afford. Because that child is not going to grow up having everything that child needs. That parent is going to be frustrated because they can't provide everything their children needs. And it's just a downhill slope from there. So even though I have friends and family who are having kids in their 40s right now, and I crack my jokes on them, I get mine off, make no mistake about it. How they're doing it is better than how I did it, because that child is coming into this world with a solid foundation already. They have parents who ain't worried about going out, hitting that club, so on and so forth. They already did that. They have parents that can focus on them. They've already gotten themselves together as far as career. Their money is situated. Their housing is situated, so on and so forth. So that child is coming into this world with everything they need already surrounding them, and it's going to be better for that child, okay? So that's that. That's how I feel about having kids young versus having kids old, all right? And people who had kids at a later age can tell you what they see as benefits other than financial. Obviously, it's not my experience, so it can't come out my mouth, all right?